Took this phone call back on the 26th, that it was a routine call for you?
Yes, sir.
You did not know that this was going to become the George Zimmerman case when you first took the phone call, correct?
That's right.
And there was nothing, was there anything particularly unusual about this call? Just in general, we'll talk specifics in a minute.
No, sir.
And of course now, even on the internet, you become sort of a mini celebrity for a moment because you were the one who answered the call.
Yes, sir.
It's been analyzed by hundreds, if not thousands of people, correct?
That's right.
And of course, you've now had a much more focused opportunity to review the tape, getting ready for your deposition here today.
That's right.
Correct? Great. I'm sorry? Deposition. I meant trial. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
I want to talk to you a little bit about that, if I might. And we are going to, I think, have to go through the tape just one more time. So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to let it play a little bit, stop, and we'll chat, okay?
Okay.
Hopefully.
Sanford Police Department, line is being recorded. Sean.
Hey, we've had some break-ins in my neighborhood, and there's a real suspicious...
We had some break-ins in the neighborhood. You
Yes.
have an opportunity, do you not, to identify the location pretty quickly when you're on the phone with landlines, correct?
Yes, sir.
With cell phones, not as quickly.
No.
Which is why, do you try and get some of the information from the person pretty quickly as to where they are?
That's right.
When getting that information, does that give you an opportunity to look at the situation, the subdivision, the mall it might be in, to identify whether or not there have been problems there in the past?
It does give us the opportunity. It'll show us what subdivision or business name, if there is one.
Okay.
Guy, it's Retrieveview Circle. The best address I can give you is 111 Retrieveview Circle. This guy looks like he's up to no good, or he's on drugs or something. It's raining, and he's just walking around looking about.
Do you hear any anger in that voice?
No, sir, I wouldn't say so.
Am I already messing up? Oh, then give me 1 second so I can take my junk off that. Thank you. Sorry, Your Honor. Anything in that initial conversation about you, where he says, suspicious person, guy just... Did he say that in any way that gave you cause for concern?
No, sir.
Okay. Then you said you see what he was wearing. Similarly,
Yes,
you also ask that for identification purposes?
That's right.
That's mainly because if you're going to send an officer, not decided yet, but if you're going to, you want to have that information readily available, because it goes out to the cops pretty much right away, right?
That's right.
Okay, and that's the main purpose of it?
Yep.
Any concern with how he answered that?
No, sir.
Okay, and this guy, is he white, black, or Hispanic?
He looks black.
Did you see what he was wearing?
Yeah, a dark hoodie, like a gray hoodie, and either jeans or sweatpants and white tennis shoes.
Any concern with the way he presented that? Any anger in his voice? Any animosity that you could detect?
No, sir.
You are somewhat trained, are you not? 6 years you've been doing this?
That's right.
Trained, aren't you, to get a good feel for the situation that you're addressing?
Yes, sir.
Because obviously if someone is screaming on one end of the phone, you know that that would be a more immediate concern, right?
That's right.
If somebody's obviously intoxicated on the phone, that would be another focus of yours, right?
That's right.
I've heard stories of people calling 911 to order pizza,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So you have to deal with that stuff as well.
That's right.
So you trained pretty well to filter both in and out of your concern areas, the way people are interacting with you?
Yes, sir.
Were you doing that this day?
I can't answer that.
Oh,
I
just
don't remember.
listening.
Just listening? No.
You were?
I'm
or
sorry.
not?
Yes, sir. Yes, I
Okay.
was.
He's here now. He was just staring.
Oh, he's just walking around the
looking
area?
at all the houses.
Okay.
And now he's just staring at me.
Okay, and so it's 1111 Retrieveview or 111?
That's the clubhouse.
That's the clubhouse. Do you know what he's near the clubhouse right now?
Yeah, now he's coming towards me.
Okay.
He's got his hand in his waistband. And he's a black male.
Now, when he said that to you, he's got his hand in his waistband, and he's a black male. What did you take that to mean?
That he had a hand in his pocket?
Nothing, anything more than that?
No, sir.
Was he just further describing him that he said he looks black earlier and now he is a black male?
Yes, sir.
Did that cause you any concern?
No.
What would you say,
He's
look?
got a button on his shirt. Late teens.
Late hands, okay.
Mm-hmm. Something's wrong with him. Yeah. He's coming to check me out. He's got something in his hands. I don't know what his deal is.
Okay, just let me know if he does
Get an
anything,
officer
okay?
over.
You say to him, after he says, he's got something in his hands, yes, he's coming to check me out, don't know what his deal with. You then say, just let me know if he does anything.
That's
okay?
right.
That evidences a concern that you had for the situation, right?
That's right.
Okay. Because at least at this point, the caller, has he evidenced any anger or animosity yet at this point of the conversation?
No, sir.
Yet he is telling you that he now has a concern about somebody coming towards him, maybe with his hand in his waistband or something.
That's right.
Okay. So, again, based upon your training, was that in an attempt to keep him interacting with you and to find out what else this guy may do?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then he says, get an officer over here, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you at that point then get to that level, if you will, of getting an officer on the way?
I can't recall that specifically.
Is that identified at all? Let me, if I might, it's now, I believe, in evidence, correct? So if I might show you what's now been released into evidence, is the sheet that goes with it also? It's with him?
Yes.
Oh, great. So I'm just going to have you look at it while I look at mine. And it show you on the middle of the page right there where you start talking about how you make entries, correct?
That's right.
And there's an entry in there, isn't there, that talks about the request for police?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would that have occurred about the same time as this request that you send somebody over?
I can't answer that specifically without the times matching up.
Okay. You weren't here for our little timeline earlier, were you,
No,
sitting in
sir.
the courtroom? Okay. But at some point, nonetheless, they asked for, or I'm sorry, Mr. Zimmerman asked for you to send a police officer,
That's right.
correct? And then you repeat, yeah, we have him on the way. So presumably you're about the same time that you're getting them there, right?
That's right.
With you telling the caller that?
Yes.
Okay. And then you repeat again, just let me know if this guy does anything else.
That's right.
Now, based upon your 6 years of doing this and just your common sense, if you tell somebody twice to let you know if the person that they're concerned about is doing anything else, do you think they're going to keep their eye on him?
I can't answer that.
You're the one, you did tell him twice to let you know if that guy did anything else.
Yes, sir.
Right? And you're in, would you agree, sort of the authoritative or command position as the operator on the call?
Yes, sir.
You're supposed to be directing the situation as best you can, right?
Without giving direct orders.
Yeah, we'll talk
as
about
well.
direct orders in a second. But you are trained to take situations, identify them fairly quickly, and to resolve them as best you can.
That's right.
And on 2 occasions, you told Mrs. Zimmerman to let you know whether or not this guy does anything else.
That's right.
Okay. It was suggested whether or not that was your intent to imbue or to invest upon Mr. Zimmerman the opportunity or the requirement to perform investigative duties. And I think you said, of course not. Right?
No, no, sir.
You just told him to keep an eye on the guy.
In case he approached him further and started an altercation, to immediately let me know so I could update the officers.
Okay. Did you intend by that also to keep an eye on him, just to keep an eye on him?
No, sir.
Why not?
It's best to avoid any kind of confrontation, to just get away from the situation.
Then he says these words.
Yeah, we got him on the way. Just let me know if this guy does anything else.
Okay.
That, by the way, is your second time, right?
Yes, sir.
These assholes, they always get away.
Was there any anger in that comment that you heard?
It sounded calm to me.
Okay.
When you come to the clubhouse, you come straight in and make a left. Actually, you would go past the clubhouse.
Okay, it says on the left-hand side from the clubhouse.
No, you go in straight through the entrance, and then you make a left. Yeah, you go straight in, don't turn and make a left. Shit, he's running.
He's running. Which way is he running?
Now, you've now asked him twice to let you know if he does anything else, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then you say, which way is he running?
That's right.
Now, a moment ago, you said that you might say, tell me what he's doing, because if there's going to be a confrontation or an altercation, you need to know that.
That's right.
But I thought you said you weren't going to suggest that he do anything else but that.
That's right.
Based upon 6 years of doing this, do you think that if you ask somebody which way they're running, which way somebody else is running, that they may actually go find out?
Judge, I'm going to object. That's speculation. He's asking what someone else might think based upon what he says.
I'm going to overrule because the question, I believe, was what does Mr. Noffke
Yeah,
do?
what would you think when saying that to someone? I'm wondering if you acknowledge, or if you think that when you say to somebody, which way is he running, that they may actually go check out which way he's running.
My intent was to get a location for the officers to look, but I can understand if someone interpreted it a different way. I can't control the way they interpret the words.
Absolutely, and please understand, I'm certainly not suggesting that you had some responsibility in Mrs. Zimmerman getting out of the car, but because you didn't tell him to get out of the car, did you?
No, I did not.
But you did ask him, which way is he running?
That's right.
Now, you said a moment ago that you did hear the concept of a doorbell chiming.
That's right.
Back then, I mean, obviously now, today, we know it, but I'm just really curious if you can think back to when this was a non-event phone call for you, back when it was just very routine. Did you actually even notice the door chiming?
I can't answer that. I
Sure.
don't recall.
Sure, you know it today because
Yes.
we've had a year and a half of listening to it. But back then, the chiming didn't mean anything to you, did it?
I can't answer that one way or another.
Okay.
Down towards the other entrance of the neighborhood,
Okay. Which entrance is that he's heading towards?
the back entrance.
Again, at that point, you're asking for more information from Mrs. Zimmerman
That's
to
right.
know who turns out to be Trayvon Martin was heading.
That's right.
You wanted to know which way he was heading,
That's right.
in what direction,
Yes.
towards what entrance,
Yes, sir.
and what path.
Specifically for the officers to know where exactly to look for
I'm
this
sorry.
person.
No, my point was, you also wanted to know what path he was taking, correct?
That's right.
Okay.
Are you following him?
Yeah.
Okay, we don't need you to do that.
Okay.
Now, that's where you suggest that you can't give a direct order,
That's right.
but certainly you can tell someone to stay in a house, right?
It's not that simple you don't want to give direct orders to someone. You can make a suggestion for their safety.
If somebody is on the phone with you and there's gunfire outside and
Yes, sir.
cops are involved, and someone says, I'm going to go out and check out what's going on, you're not going to order them to, I know we can't use the word order,
Yes.
you're not going to tell them to stay inside?
I would also tell them, we don't need you to go outside. Just stay where you are.
Okay, so is that sort of just the way you have to say it so you avoid liability?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Zimmerman responded, correct?
That's right.
What did he say?
I believe it was okay.
All right. Now, these shuffling noises that we heard a little while ago,
Yes, sir.
would you acknowledge that that's probably wind noise?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so he gets out of the car, he is talking to you on the phone, and you hear wind noise.
Yes, sir.
There's no suggestion from you, is there, that he was running?
It sounded like his breathing was strained.
Gotten out of the car, and you heard breathing strained over the noise?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then he said, okay, and you still hear the noise?
For, I believe, a few extra seconds
Is
afterwards.
that the
Yes.
same wind noise?
Yes, sir.
Is that noise simply from having a cell phone outside of a car?
Possibly.
Okay. You don't suggest it's anything else, do you?
I can't answer that.
Okay. Just curious because you're the one listening.
Yes, sir.
That's what we're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you hear any breathing sound there?
No.
Okay. So even if you heard breathing sounds before, you definitely didn't hear them just then, did you?
No.
Okay. Suggesting, if I might, that he's no longer breathing heavy?
I have no way
Okay.
of knowing that.
Okay.
George. He,
I'm sorry.
okay.
All right, sir. What is your name?
George. He ran.
All right, George. What's your last name?
Zimmerman.
Again, at this point, after he thought Trayvon Martin ran, did you hear any anger in his voice or any upset?
No, sir.
Anything that caused you any concern for how Mrs. Zimmerman was acting throughout all this?
No, sir.
And you're still trying to get
Hey, George,
information.
what's the phone number you're calling from?
407-435-2400.
And this is more of a curiosity. I thought you had his phone number.
We always have to ask for it, whether we have it or not.
Okay.
But on this type of call, no, there's no caller ID on the non-emergency lines. So we
Okay,
do
so-
have to ask for it.
Gotcha. So non-emergency, cell phone, you don't get the number that shows up.
That's right.
911, you do,
You do. But you
And-
also have to verify it as well.
no matter what. Make
No
sure you have
matter
it
what,
right.
yes.
Great.
All right, we do have them on the way. Do you want to meet with the officer when they get out there?
Why do you ask that?
Because simply with this kind of call, they don't have to meet with an officer.
Sure.
It could just be check the area for this person, but you always want to ask whether they
Okay.
want to or not.
Makes sense, I guess, since they have the information to relate to the officer?
That's right.
And is it standard protocol that you give them the option?
Yes, sir.
So had George Zimmerman said no, then there would have been no other phone call, no other meet where or how or when or with whom, and
That's right.
that would have been it.
That's right.
But he said yeah.
Yep.
Did he insist on that?
No, sir.
Yeah.
All right, where are you going to meet with them at?
If they come in through the gate, tell them to go straight past the clubhouse. And
What? Did you hear that?
Yes, sir.
What do you think that was?
I have no idea.
Could that have been, and I'm not certain if you've heard this before on a 911 call, flashlight against a palm, trying to see if it's
That's the
on?
witness to speculate. He's already said he doesn't know.
Sustained.
Did you give me your insight as, let's hear that again. And tell me what you, if you can, tell me what that is.
Yeah.
Said he had no idea.
I'm sorry, let me stop that for 1 second. My concern is that I should have let,
His objection is overruled. You could play it for him again.
yeah, I interrupted. I apologize, Your Honor.
If they come in through the gate, tell them to go
It's that noise.
Yes, sir.
Do you at all any insight on what that is?
No idea.
straight past the clubhouse. And
Again, any
No idea.
insight whatsoever?
No, sir.
Did it seem as though it was coming from his side of the call?
I can't answer that.
Okay. Didn't come from your side of the call, did it?
I have no
Okay,
idea.
sorry.
straight past the clubhouse, and make a left, and then they go past the mailboxes. You'll see my truck.
Okay, what address are you parking?
Now, in his attempt to identify a location for you to have the officers meet him at, he told you that they would see the truck.
Yes, sir.
Any reason why you didn't ask him for the description of the truck at that point?
No, not that I can recall specifically.
Is that standard protocol that when you're going to meet somebody by a vehicle, you get it identified?
Yes, sir.
And any explanation for why that didn't happen here?
No.
Okay.
Front of.
I don't know. It's a cut through, so I don't know the address.
Okay, do you live in?
It's a cut through, I don't know the address. Do you live in the area? Did you have any concern at that point about how Mrs. Zimmerman was acting?
No, sir.
The area?
Yeah.
What's your apartment number?
It's a home. It's 1950. Oh, crap. I don't want to give it out loud. I don't know where this kid is.
Did that give you any cause for concern that didn't want to give out an address while this suspicious person was still nearby?
No, sir.
Okay, do you want to just meet with them right near the mailboxes then?
Yeah, that's fine.
Now, when he said that, did that seem to make sense to you? Mailboxes were identified location and just meet there?
Yes, sir.
Any concern then when,
All right, George, I'll let him know to meet you with you out there, okay?
Actually, could you have him call me and I'll tell him where I'm at?
Okay.
when he said that, any concern with just having the officer call him?
No, sir.
Did anything go up on your spidey sense or your radar that was problematic?
No, sir.
When we talked about these changes, I think Mr. Manti said something like, from mailbox to truck to call me. I'm sorry, address to truck to call me. Did that give you, the person actually listening, any cause for concern as to how Mrs. Zimmerman was acting?
No, sir.
Yeah, that's all right.
You need my number? You got it.
Yeah, I got it. 407-435-2400.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, no problem. I'll let them know to call you when they're in the area.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I think Mr. Manti asked as well, did this call seem to rise to a level of concern where you felt the need to keep Mrs. Zimmerman on the call?
No, sir.
Why not?
The person who he saw that was suspicious had left the area, so there was no need for him to follow, and there was no concern for his safety.
Any concern in the presentation that George Zimmerman said, or how he presented to you, that caused you any concern?
No, sir.
Any of the words that he said?
No, sir.
I mean, we hear there that he says fucking punks. Was that something that got your blood rushing in some form or fashion?
No, sir.
You've heard that many, many times in
That's
your
right.
life as a 911 operator?
That's right.
Is cursing, since you do it on a daily basis, is cursing something that you hear in many of the phone calls you take on?
That's right.
Any concerns about these words that cause you any real concern?
No, sir.
How about the idea that he said these assholes always get away?
No, sir.
None whatsoever.
No.
Then you treated this call as many of your others. You'd sent an officer out there. Did you then just move on in your duties?
That's right.
Do you don't keep track of what's going on with calls once you finish them, do you?
I typically do, yes.
Oh, okay. Anything significant about this?
After finding out what actually happened related to other
okay.
calls we got, yes.
Right, because obviously there we will know, as the evidence will present, there were a lot of 911 phone calls that came in from the area.
That's right.
Okay. I might just have a moment, Your Honor.
Yes, you may.
Thanks very much, Your Honor. No further questions.
Thank you. Any redirect?
Please, Your Honor. Mr. Noffke, the caller never identified the individual by name or suggested that he knew who he was, did he?
No, no, sir.
Okay. but yet called him an asshole and a fucking punk.
That's right.
Okay. Does that, Mr. Romero was asking, does it suggest to you any number of things? Does it suggest to you that he had nice feelings and warm
I'm sorry,
thoughts?
Your Honor, this would be redirect still with the rules, so I'd object to this leading the witness, Your Honor.
Okay. Please rephrase your question.
Does it suggest to you that the caller had nice thoughts or something else?
Leading, again, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
It suggests calling someone an asshole and a fucking
Oh,
punk?
no, I'm sorry. No, sir.
Okay. No. Might it suggest things such as ill will?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor, again, leading question, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll rephrase your question.
Sure. Mr. O'Mara discussed whether you had any, whether it elevated, I think your blood was the phrase that he used.
Yes, sir.
You're used to hearing people call each other these things,
That's right.
okay? And the feelings that follow with those words in your experience are what?
Hostile.
There was a point where you asked the race of the individual,
That's right.
and you got an answer.
Yes, sir.
What was the answer?
Black male.
Okay, he looked black.
Yes, sir.
There was a second point. Do you remember the part where you discussed with Mr. O'Mara, has his hand in his waistband?
That's right.
And then the next phrase was,
I don't recall specifically.
okay. Do you remember being told he's a black male again?
Yes, sir.
Did you ask that time?
No, sir.
And in fact, you'd already heard.
That's right.
And when you said, and Mr. O'Mara asked you, your words to the caller, the defendant,
That's right.
about let me know if he does anything else, remember those questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, were your words?
My exact words?
Yes.
I don't recall exactly word for word.
Did we hear it on the tape?
Yes, sir.
Did you say let me know?
Yes.
Did you say go find out?
No.
Did you say follow or keep an eye on?
No, sir.
Did you say go investigate?
No.
I'm going to focus for a minute. This is the part of the tape where we hear the getting out of the car.
That's right.
You go straight in. Don't turn and make a left. Shit, he's running.
He's running. Which way is he running?
Down.
Did you hear that?
Yes, sir.
How long was it between he's running, which way he's running, and those door noises?
Immediately.
Okay. So getting out of the car, was that because you asked anything, or was that already in progress?
Object, Your Honor, that would call speculation from this witness.
Sustained.
Does the tape speak for itself?
Yes.
It's all going on right at the same time.
That's right.
Now, you talked about the wind noise versus the running noise. Remember that series
Yes.
of questions? And I guess Mr. O'Mara asked you, you thought it might be running, I think you said because you also heard some breathing?
Yes, sir.
There was a point in time where the what you described as wind noise stops. You recall that?
That's right.
Okay. But I guess let me ask you, what clued you into getting out of the car was the noises we just heard, the clicking and the door chimes and that?
Yes.
Did you ever hear anything indicating he got back in the car?
No, sir.
But there was a point in time where the wind noise stopped?
That's right.
And yet the conversation went on?
That's right.
So whatever stopped that wind noise wasn't getting back in a car?
I don't know.
No other questions, Judge?
Just a few. So possibly the wind noise may have stopped because he had gone past an opening area to where he walked next to another building and the wind stopped. Would that be a possibility?
A possibility, yes.
Okay, so it could have happened that way, right? He was out in the open, let's say in an area between two buildings, then he walked past the opening between two buildings. When he got next to the second building, the wind stopped?
That's a possibility.
Okay. Did you ever you knew he got out of the car. I think we now, did you, let's be clear. Because I thought you cleared this up earlier. We now know that he got out of the car because 16 months of all this. But I thought you said back then, with that little dinging, did you even know he got out of the car?
I can't answer that one way or another.
You don't know, right?
Yes.
If you had heard dings and you remembered him back then and thought he got out of the car and asked him if he was following him, right? Because you did do that.
Yes, sir.
Why didn't you tell him to go back to the car?
I had no idea if he was in a car or not.
Well, he told you where his truck was, right?
That was afterwards.
Oh, okay. The hostility that might come from fucking punks. I want to be clear. Did you hear any of that hostility in the conversation?
No, sir.
Okay. So while you may believe that if someone says fucking punk somewhere else, it might be a hostile statement, the hostility was not evident in any of your conversation with Mr. Zimmerman, was it?
No, sir.
Okay. And this part about looking black and actually being black.
That's right.
His first statement to you was, you asked him race, and he said he looks black.
That's right.
Did that seem definitive to you?
No, sir.
He didn't just say he's black, he said he looks black.
That's right.
And then, when he got a better look at him as he was coming towards him, I think with his hand in his waist, he said he's a black male.
That's right.
Did that, to you, just seem like he was confirming the race?
Yes.
Did it seem like he was focusing on saying black twice because he had some racial overtones to it?
I have no idea. I
Okay.
can't answer that.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further
Thank you.
questions.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
May Mr. Noffke be excused?
Yes, Your Honor, subject to possible recall.
Thank you, sir. You're